Test, test. Good evening. My name is Jim Connect. I'm from Three Oaks Middle School, and today we have our advanced guitar ensemble. They're going to be performing traditional guitar ensemble material, and then before closing today's show, they're going to play Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to begin this evening's board meeting. The school board meeting of May 3rd, 2016 is now called to order. The time is 6 p.m. At this time, we request that all electronic devices be turned off or to be put in the silent mode. Also, we ask that you please refrain from using flash photography except during the special presentations portions of the meeting. We would like to take this opportunity to remind the members of the public of the district's mission, which is to ensure that each student achieves his or her highest personal potential, and of the district's vision to be a world-class school system. Prior to the start of this evening's meeting, we have been enjoying the Three Oaks Middle School Guitar Ensemble under the direction of Jim Knecht. This ensemble consists of select 7th and 8th grade students who are admitted by audition only. They are an award-winning electric ensemble who has received superior ratings and placed first in music competitions. At this time, the Three Oaks Middle School Guitar Ensemble will perform once again.
job.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, I know, but
Thank you so much. At this time, we'll take just a very brief pause to clear the performance area.
no, Olaf, he used to work for the district.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks to the Three Oaks Electric Guitar Ensemble. This evening's student representative, one time again, is Danny Hayden. She is a junior in the IB program at Dunbar High School. Danny is a STEM student who has completed 2 years of biomedical science, has participated in 3 years of JROTC, and is a member of the National Honor Society. Her interests include reading various types of literature and participating in team sports, specifically soccer and softball. Danny would like to attend law school to study corporate law and work towards opening her own law firm. Welcome back, Danny. This evening's agenda includes the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance, one special presentation to the board, 2 recognitions, 1 acknowledgement, public comment, consent action items, which include 3 items under resolutions, 6 items under executive services, 3 items under business and finance, 4 items under operations, 4 items under teaching and learning, 10 items under superintendent's recommendations, 1 item for public hearing, and 4 items under other business. Board members, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Dozier and seconded by Mrs. Morgan. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Motion carries 4-0. This evening, Mr. Toiber will be with us a little bit late. He had another unavoidable commitment, and he'll be joining us shortly. Mrs. LaRiviere will deliver the invocation, after which Mrs. Morgan will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. After the special presentations portion of the agenda, a brief recess will be called to allow those who wish to leave the auditorium an opportunity to do so. Please rise for the invocation.
Will you please join me? Father, I just am amazed as I'm sitting here, and here's it's Danny getting ready to finish her high school year, 8th graders who are planning for their next year. The year has gone by quickly. Father, I pray that you would be with each of the students as they joyfully finish the rest of their learning, and especially those who are seniors who are beginning to plan what happens next. Father, I pray that you would be with us throughout this meeting, give wisdom, give guidance, and give direction, so that all decisions are done that are wise as much as humanly possible, and that are in the best interest of our students. Before I forget, daily I've been getting a reminder about those who are down in Ecuador helping with disaster needs due to the earthquake. I lift up all of the families and those who are the workers, that you would keep people safe, and that you would provide the housing, the food, and all of the needs for the Ecuadorian community. Amen.
Amen.
The cadet presenting the national colors tonight will be introduced by Lieutenant Colonel Glenn T. Steffenhagen from Island Coast High School's JROTC program. Lieutenant Colonel Steffenhagen retired after 20 years of service and has been teaching in Lee County for over 10 years.
Thank you. Presenting the national colors tonight is Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Max McCardle. Cadet McCardle will be the Gator Battalion Commander the next school year. Max has participated for the last 3 years in the JROTC program and has attended many parades, community service projects, service learning activities, and leadership camps. Cadet McCardle has participated in the drill team, color guard, and the junior ROTC Leadership Academic Bowl teams. Cadet McCardle has also been a member of the Academy of Natural Resources for 3 years, where he is set to be in charge of the plant section of the academy. He holds a 3.2 GPA, is currently planning on attending the University of Florida to earn a degree in either biotechnology or tertiary instruction. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America,
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I would like to invite from the Salvation Army, Major Timothy Gilliam and his lovely wife, Major Cheryl Gilliam. And also, is Mr. Stan, he wasn't able to be here tonight? Come on up. This is a special presentation that's not to us. Come on over here. It's not really to any one particular person, but it's to the entire school district. And I'm going to let either Cheryl or Major Tim say something about something that the district participated in. And I think all of us were overwhelmed by the participation from the giving hearts and the loving people from this school district.
For many years now, the Lee County School District has been in partnership with the Salvation Army to meet the needs of our community, and specifically concerning feeding our children in our community. And so you've taken on the task for many years to collect food items, non-perishable food items, to be given out during our Christmas season through food baskets, and then all year round, as in years past and even this year, the food has just overflowed, and we're so grateful for that. Back in October or September, October, I felt impressed upon my heart that not only do we need to meet the needs through food, but also, you know, every year we've given children in our community some type of gift through either a toy or game, teddy bears that our community so generously donates. But I felt it important that we also meet their physical need through clothing. That brings hope to the family. The toy brings the smile to the child, and it helps, but the clothing really brings hope to the family. And so I stood before our advisory board, in which Jeannie is a member, and I said we would like to ask for partnerships in our community, organizations and groups, to adopt children in our family, specific children, to be able to not only give them their wish, but also their need. And I want to say that I'm so proud of the Lee County School Board that took on the project of 200 children in our community. Not only did you meet their want and their wishes, but you met their need. And thank you so much for partnering with us. And so on March 9th, we were able to recognize individuals and groups that volunteer through the Salvation Army to meet community needs, who have given outstanding service. And so I'd like to present this award to you today for your exceptional volunteerism and your outstanding way in which you've met the needs of our children. On a daily basis you do that, but thank you so much in particular through helping us and partnering with us, and we look forward to hopefully many years ahead in doing that as well. But we honor you today with this award.
I'm going to say a couple of things. These two, once they came about 2 years ago, they travel as a family when they are relocated. And I had the opportunity to meet with Major Tim a little over 2 years ago. And it was an absolutely incredible meeting, and what they are doing for our community and the transition and the turnaround that they have done here with the Salvation Army, and what they are
able to do every day is absolutely incredible. And it also is possible because of groups like the school district. And it's all of our employees out here. Those of you that are sitting in the auditorium tonight, we asked for a few gifts, and I went to the superintendent and I asked all of you at the board table, and you know, this was something that they said, everybody said, you know, everybody wanted to be a part of it. And so we got the list, and I feel like this is important to be said about our employees, because not only was it from the superintendent all the way down to our assistants in our offices that took those cards and went out and went shopping. And on every list, there were 2 or 3 items of gifts. There were 2 or 3 items of needs. And our employees bought so many things that we had to have a large semi-truck to take the gifts over there. I think it was 2 trucks, actually, that had to go over there. And our employees and the board did not just buy the one item, one gift and one need. Everybody just about bought everything on each child's list. And you know, that shows the heart of giving, the heart of the love that comes out of this school district from all of our employees. So I would just like to thank each and every one of you that participated, and I certainly hope that this token of the appreciation from the Salvation Army and the joy that you got from knowing that you made a child smile is something that will make you want to do it again next year. So thank you.
Thank
Go up
you.
here and we'll get that picture.
I'd like to invite Ms. Melissa Robery and Mrs. Brandy Macchia, Directors of Curriculum and Staff Development, to please join me at the lectern. Each year, instructional employees in subject area groups select educators in their respective fields to represent them and be recognized as outstanding teachers. While the selection process varies for each group due to the diversity of their jobs, the results are the same. Each of the honorees has been selected by his or her peers for being an outstanding teacher. The school board and the superintendent are pleased to recognize and congratulate this year's outstanding subject area teachers. As your name is called, please come forward and remain for group pictures. Please hold your applause until all of the recipients have been announced. Ms. Robery and Ms. Macchia, would you like to do the honors?
You just want me to say the names.
Yes.
So first of all, like she mentioned, that yes, every single one of these teachers were nominated by either a peer or an administrator, so a fellow colleague, someone who sees the work that they do every day. And while the different committees varied in what they did as far as nominations, every single one of them, we even had some people who we had to not have on the committees because they had actually in fact been nominated. But every committee went through every single name meticulously and went back and forth to score each of these so that we could make sure that we had the very best representation. So the people I'm going to call, we are focused on, we actually had to split them into 2 nights. So we're focused on the elementary and then some other special areas. So these truly are amazing individuals. So we're going to start with English Language Arts. We have Trina Emler from Heights Elementary. ESE Pre-K, we have Bree Hampshire from Sunshine Elementary. And I'll apologize now if I mess up any names. ESE Elementary, we have Joni Pelletier from Treeline Elementary. For elementary math, we have Nicholas Petkovich from Veterans Park Academy for the Arts. For elementary media specialist, we have Katie Riemenschneider from Heights Elementary. For elementary music, we have Kristen Beatty from San Carlos Park Elementary. For elementary PE, we have Morgan Wright from J. Colon English Elementary. For pre-K, we have Liz Danziger from Bonita Springs Elementary. For psychologist, we have Lisette Goaz from Psychological Services. For elementary reading, we have Tamara Hunter from Franklin Park Elementary. For elementary school counselor, we have Sherry St. John from Gateway Elementary. For school nurse, we have Melissa Glover from Pine Island Elementary. School social worker, we have Rosalie Sarzaniski from Student Welfare and Attendance. Elementary science, we have Ann Garcia from Franklin Park Elementary. Elementary social studies, Stephanie Harold from Bayshore Elementary. Elementary visual arts, David Martin from Bonita Springs Elementary. You've been called that name already. Is she here? Yeah. Okay, Dr. Q, I've been told you're coming up to get this one and be in the picture.
So say it again.
So she's coming up to accept Tamara Hunter for Franklin Park Elementary. Really?
We definitely are blessed with amazing teachers and other staff members. Well, I would like to invite Miss Melissa Robery and Miss Brandy Macchia back up again. Directors of Curriculum and Staff Development, and Miss Jackie Corey, Principal of Lehigh Senior High, to please join me at the lectern. Here you are. Advancement via Individual Determination, or AVID, is a program designed to help students prepare for and succeed in colleges and universities. An AVID school-wide site of distinction represents the highest level of AVID implementation fidelity, demonstrating excellence in instructional practice and the promotion of college readiness school-wide. By completing the school-wide data collection form and meeting the target percentages for both process metrics and impact metrics, the AVID Center is honored to recognize Lehigh Senior High School as an AVID school-wide site of distinction for the 2015-2016 school year. Lehigh Senior High School is one of 5 schools in the entire state of Florida to earn this distinction. The school board and superintendent are pleased to recognize and congratulate this year's Lehigh Senior High as an AVID school-wide site of distinction.
Hi. I'm Wadley Pierre, and to start off, I want to say good evening to Dr. Atkins and the board members. I am a proud Lehigh scholar, and I came here from Haiti and faced many challenges known to every student, and plus some. And however, my Lehigh family, and specifically AVID, has taught me the skills I need to be a scholar. Not only my AVID teacher, but all my other teachers have used strategies to help me learn new things. I am a successful AVID student, Cambridge and Center for the Arts, and a scholar athlete with a 4.63 GPA. Thank you. And I would like to say for a fact that I am college bound. Most recently, I was interviewed by admissions for Yale and Princeton. And last night, I received my first check of $2,500 of $20,000 scholarship from the Hillmeyer Tremont Student Athlete Foundation. To finish this, I want to say that I am so grateful for the AVID program and what it has done for me. And tonight, I am proud that we are being acknowledged as a National Demonstration School site of distinction. Thank you.
Real quick, I want to say a couple of words. Dr. Atkins and board members, thank you for taking the time to acknowledge something so positive in our school district. This is a huge accomplishment of the staff and students of Lehigh Senior High School. We truly have a staff that is committed to teaching and continuous learning. AVID has provided us with a universal approach to teaching that has made the classroom more rigorous for all of our students on our campus. We currently offer 15 sections of the AVID elective. This is a course for students in the forgotten middle that when supported, they can thrive in rigorous coursework. Some data for you. 71.5% of our 11th and 12th grade students are currently enrolled in or have taken at least one AP, Cambridge, or dual enrollment class. 84% of our 12th grade students have completed college entrance requirements. The AVID elective has provided many students with the tools to prepare and access college that may have not been the possibility for them. Beyond the AVID elective, we approach the classroom using these strategies school-wide, and it continues to help us close the achievement gap. I am so proud of the students and staff for their dedication and the commitment to all means all. This is such an honor tonight that acknowledges their hard work. I'm not sure if you are aware of this, but we are a demo school. We have hosted several schools from all over the state of Florida to help them learn and to assist them with implementation. We invite you to come anytime. Our classrooms are open every day for you to see what's happening and the magic that takes place at our school with our wonderful teachers. The last thing I'm so excited to tell you and invite you to is Wadley was just selected today to be the Summer Institute Tampa keynote speaker in front of 5,000 educators. His story will inspire over 5,000 educators about how they can too close the achievement gap and make a difference, and that all means all. I have several staff members I'd like to bring up here and take this picture. Without them, we wouldn't be able to close that achievement gap, and I'm so grateful to have such an amazing staff. So those staff members that are here, if y'all could come on up, you have to celebrate this honor with us.
Good evening, everyone. The character word for me is patience. Patience, the power to wait calmly without complaining. And stated by Napoleon Hill, patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. The design you see displayed on the screens was created by Kenley Adams, a 9th grade student at Estero High School.
Oh, good job.
Thank you, and congratulations, teachers and staff, for the honor. At this time, we'll take a brief recess in case anybody would like to leave, but you are more than welcome to stay for the business meeting. Thank you all. The next item on the agenda is public comment. Mr. Martin, please address the agenda item of public comment.
School board policy provides the opportunity at this point in the meeting to address the board concerning any matter on this meeting's agenda or any other matter relevant to the operation of the school district. If you completed a card and submitted that to me before the meeting began, you'll be called in the order of the card submitted. If you did not submit a card but still wish to address the school board this evening, the school board vice chair, Ms. Fisher, will give you an opportunity in a moment to express that desire. The rules concerning public comment to the board are posted at the back of the room. The board does not respond during public comment time to remarks made by speakers. At the conclusion of public comment time, the school board chair may address concerns raised by speakers or may assign responsibility to the superintendent to do so. Speakers are expected to act in a respectful manner. Those who fail to do so after being warned by the meeting chair may be required to leave the meeting. Disruptive attacks on individuals are prohibited. Ms. Fisher, I have 7 cards this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Is there anybody on the right side of the auditorium who did not fill out a card and wishes to speak? Please state your name. Anybody on the left side of the auditorium who did not fill out a card and would like to speak? Please state your name. Yes, ma'am. Anyone else? Thank you. Mr. Martin, please.
There's another hand.
I'm sorry. Yes? Okay. Mr. Martin, please call the first card.
Richard Ferreira.
Members of the committee, my name is Richard Ferreira. I live in Bonita Springs, and I was a former councilman on the city council in Bonita and a deputy mayor for a couple of years. It's been a pleasure to present, to have public comments so early in the agenda. I want to talk on one specific item, and I also would like to make a comment, thank the school committee for its diligence in selecting a site in Bonita Springs. And if the quality of the students that we saw tonight is any indication of what we'll see in 7 or 8 years graduating, then sign me in as a taxpayer. The school committee has a golden opportunity to bring the construction of a new high school into the 21st century by using solar energy as a consideration for your energy needs in this facility, in part, of course, with other forms of energy, natural gas and whatever. But with grants and newly designed incentives, the cost could be mitigated, and the cost effective, given the tremendous utility savings you will realize, will be an adjunct to the taxpayer. After all, this is a sunshine state. If you don't believe me, go out and look at your license plate. The state of Florida is solely deficient in the development and the use of solar energy for political reasons, who knows, special interests. But solar energy is going to hit Florida like a freight train. And we hope that in Bonita, by the way, I'm not representing anybody except myself. We would like to see, some people in Bonita would like to see alternative forms of energy used, and I think that the taxpayer will get a terrific break if at this point the school committee begins to consider in its facility planning some use of solar energy, not only as a resource for energy savings, but as an experiment and as a unique site for the rest of the state in public buildings, in building green and protecting the environment. It also gives the students a chance to experiment for those who, not every student wants to go to college. Many want to go into the trades, go into business without going to college, and solar energy is a means of creating jobs because an awful lot of demand is going to.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrer. Your time's up, sir.
Thank you.
John Armstrong.
Don Armstrong. Before I came here tonight, I actually got some good news that I figured I'd share with you real quick. My daughter, Catherine Rose, I've just found out, will be receiving an award from North Fort Myers Academy of the Arts for Arts Week, and it's an very, very prestigious award. So I'm very proud of her. She'll be going to the banquet. But on another note, this is what I came here to talk to you guys about. You know, when I started doing research and listening to everybody discuss this property, finding out that it has asbestos there. You know, I started doing my research because I just don't want to take everybody's word for it. I want to start looking and doing my own research. But when I read even the property appraisals notes, they suggest that you guys do a soil test. Strongly suggest is what it says. Page 14, go ahead and look for yourselves. It says it right there, black and white. But then I started doing more research. Now I actually got the opportunity to talk to a gentleman who does this for a living in California. And when I explained to him everything that was going on, he says, you know, Mr. Armstrong, sounds political. Because normally when you do tests like that on a piece of property, you don't just test 1.5 acres when it's a 77,000 acre property. You're supposed to test it all. And then I started doing more research on the test itself. You know, one of the things that it suggests that you do is when you haul away this material, you put it in some type of vehicle that is watertight. And the pictures alone shows it's being hauled away in a dump truck. Really? Asbestos everywhere. And then I did another research and found a story about a construction worker who happened to be working around asbestos. The sad thing about that construction worker is because his wife had to wash the clothes, she ended up with cancer before he did because of this. Which brings me to my point. I'm a construction worker. And I know some of you up there might look down on me because of that. But I can tell you right now, I'm proud of what I do. Extremely proud of it. When you ask people like myself to go out there and work, because first we're going to put the construction workers out there to work in hazardous material that has not been tested properly. Then we're going to put our support personnel out there, then our teachers, but most importantly, our students. So I'm asking you tonight, before you make that decision, you go and do a soil test and make sure this property is clean, because our students, our support personnel, our construction workers, they are counting on you to make the right call. So before you make this call, please do what's correct. Don't put our children's lives or our construction workers' lives in jeopardy. Thank you.
Morgan Wright.
Board members, I have 3 items that I'm going to be going through quickly, and I apologize, it's just due to the time constraints. Currently, students are required to have very specific serving portions with their meals. If they see something they don't want, they have to put it on their tray. Otherwise, they now must purchase that item a la carte, even if they're on free lunch normally. So we're not only teaching them that waste is okay, that it's okay to just throw money away as an acceptable form of practice, because it's what we've always done, even during these very trying fiscal times for our district. I understand there are mandated guidelines we must follow. I must ask why, though? We have kitchen managers who are capable of ordering intelligently for our schools. If a kitchen manager looks and says, okay, I have 600 units of broccoli, 200 are going to be eaten today. Let me make 300. I'll keep the rest on standby. Now instead, we've only ultimately used 300 units of said item instead of wasting 600. I'm fully cognizant that any changes of this are going to be slow. We must debate the merits of going against our federal nutrition standards. However, unlike other hot-button topics such as testing, we're going to be hard-pressed to find bodies willing to take a stance that say, hey, waste is an acceptable form of practice for business and nutrition. My second order that I would like to address would be our current evaluation process. As now, teachers are rated on the daily by parents and also professionally by their administration. Hey, we, however, have little input on our current immediate administration. With the military, we would have a bottom-up review system. It worked phenomenally well. I have multiple years of experience with this. The largest employer for Southwest Florida, Lee Memorial, uses a bottom-up review system, and they do so very effectively over many years. This not only lets us give feedback on what could be sensitive issues, it also lets us get kudos to programs and items that might be working very well. One thing that I've noticed as almost a third issue that has not been working very well, and it will become an issue if we do not look at it proactively, is going to be our current evaluation system. I logged on to PeopleSoft today and I noticed that I have been rated effective. I have been observed one time each by both my administrators for 6 minutes each, once on January 5th, once on January 6th. So in a total of 12 minutes, my entire teaching year has been deemed effective. I was Teacher of the Year 2012, Golden Apple 2013, Teacher of the Year 2014, Learner for Life recipient 2015, Teacher of the Year 2016. I don't say this to brag. When I say this, and my point is, if now we have Florida legislation tying fiscal dollars and bonuses to teachers, I have no incentive to stay at the school that I love. And I'm going to move to a school where I know what I give in my classroom is going to be appreciated, and I will not see it on an arbitrary evaluation.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Your time's up, sir. Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you.
George Fox.
Board. Thank you, Board. 3 minutes, right, Mr. Martin?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. School of Rock, that guitar thing was great. Ms. Dozier, Lee County has $868 million in debt. It's going up. They talk the talk over there, but it's actually going up a lot. The deal with this DeSarge is the manager over there is they negotiate their bonds based upon pledging their assets. They do their property taxes so they can borrow a little bit more this year as opposed to next year. The school district, the property appraiser sends the dollar amount of the property in Lee County to Tallahassee, and they use that information. It doesn't come from the school district. That situation doesn't really apply. The real issue here is the use of cops. Bonita High School, you saw today in the workshop that you're 2 schools short. You need to build 2 schools and you have no money. And the reason being is because you're paying interest on Bonita Springs of over $30 million. A half-cent sales tax, the cost to the Lee County residents would be about $50 million. But because it's being financed at 5% with COPS, it's over $100 million. That's a difference of $50 million. That's why you want the half-cent sales tax. You've been on this board for 16 years and you haven't figured that out. In fact, this district has $640 million of debt, clear and present danger to the actual existence of this district, and all of it is on your 16 years of watch. It's gone in the hole an average of $40 million a year under you and Mr. Toiber's tutelage and supervision, longtime members of this board. You have no excuse. During the briefing when you said yes, and I remember your words carefully because I pay attention to this, you said, let's put the kids first and let's do it. Then you changed your mind. So I can only assume that you're not putting the kids first, Ms. Dozier.
Mr. Fox, I've asked that you please hold your comments. Hold your comments, please, sir. Hold your comments for a second. I need to provide you a caution. Thank you. In accordance with school board policy, I would ask that you please not refrain from making any personal attacks in your comments. You have 1 minute and 4 seconds left. Please proceed.
Thank you. I'm speaking of matters that are of record. These are public records. I have not mentioned Ms. Dozier's personal dealings at all. I don't care, and I think it's wrong for it to ever be mentioned in here, for the record. So that's really where it is. This district is in real trouble. I'm looking, this is the capital plan presented today, and the only way it made it work was by cutting the maintenance and by cutting busing, which is what happens when you use COPS. COPS is a very inferior way of financing schools. You build one school a year, use the sales tax, you open that school with no debt. All right, that school will perform better, and this district will carry on. But it is going in the wrong direction. In fact, the hospital is too. It's got over $500 million in debt. The fact is this county is growing faster than it can retire debt. And the hospital, the school board, and the county commission are all getting it wrong. You need to go back to your political group and tell them they're wrong. We got kids here that have great needs, and you're not representing their needs. I'd like to close by thanking Ms. LaViere for my
Mr. Fox, your time's
appointment.
up, sir.
Thank you.
Charla Fox.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Adkins, Mr. Martin, I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak for a few moments. I want to express appreciation to everyone and all the teachers, as this is Teacher Appreciation Week. We are about to embark on new school board negotiations with the teacher representation TALC. And what I'd like to ask is that we keep in mind all those different things that we have stated that are truly important. Our students being the most important thing going out there. And so I ask you to remember that when you are helping Dr. Adkins on the direction that the district is going and where resources are placed, because it is so important. We want to retain our teachers, because the only way we are going to encourage new teachers to come is to be able to retain the teachers that are here. Because if they are staying, they are going to be satisfied, and if they are satisfied, that pulls new teachers into the district. And so I truly believe that focusing on teacher retention and satisfaction on all aspects is going to be a major area for us if we expect to become the school district we can become. Because one of the things I continually see is in the newspaper, you always see the negatives. They love to write the negatives. It's what sells newspapers. Okay? You see it on the news, everything. It's really out there. Tonight, we saw some of the most wonderful, heartfelt things that I was so excited when the young man from Lehigh was here and what he was doing with AVID. It just did my heart so much good. We have this going on all over the county, and people don't see that. They see the little things that people say that are negative, and they think that they're our school system. They don't recognize the 93,000 people that we service directly. Those are our students. Those are our future. And if we can really get that message out to the public, that our future are our kids, and if we want a county that is progressing and booming and really out there and people want to come and bring businesses and everything else, it starts with us. And we have got to get our businesses, our community organizations truly understanding that and supporting us. Thank you for the time.
James Paris. Yes. As an aid to you, not as a display to the school board.
Yes, as an
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for allowing me to speak with you. I wasn't aware of the school district's debt problems until now, but I'm glad I know now because it does make my point a little bit more relevant here. I'd like to bring to attention some administrative waste in the Human Resources Department. There's a contract for services outsourcing a certain part of human resources functions. It's regarding the protesting of unwarranted unemployment claims. I'm not going to get into the details of this service. It's a little bit technical and not really relevant to my point. But this contract hasn't been in place for about 7 years, and I've done a good amount of research. There has not been a bid issued, no RFP issued since the signing of the contract in July of 2009. The contract's in the amount of $21,000 annually. Since I work with another firm, I know that these services are worth $10,000 annually. So that's $11,000 per year for 7 years, $77,000 of, unnecessary spending on outsourcing this work. For about a year and a half, I've reached out to the Human Resources Department, the Finance Department, the Budget Department, the Procurement Department, and the Internal Auditor's Office with no response, no information on what's going on with the contract, when it's going out to bid again, et cetera. I even showed up last week. I drove here all the way from Orlando last week and today to speak with somebody. I showed up at 9:30, said, I have all day here to wait. All I need is 3 minutes. I was told the HR department was in a meeting all day with no scheduled breaks. And when the internal auditor found out I was there, he decided to take the day off. What I am requesting is that you consider instructing the procurement department to issue an RFP for these services. The contract ends on July 1st, and there's a 30-day notice period, which causes it to auto-renew on June 1st. So I decided to show up today, your last meeting before your contract auto-renews. Are there any questions? Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bonnie Kennard Margolin.
Good evening. My name is Bonnie Kennard Margolin. I'm a teacher and a parent. I'm at North Fort Myers Academy of the Arts. I don't normally mention that, but I'm here today to speak about my daughter. As you know, she has been opting out of state testing and now district testing for years. And I appreciate that this district respects her choice to do that and respects that we've read statute and we know that she can. But now she's a middle schooler. And the sit and stare policy, I have to say, feels like humiliation. Mary Fisher referred to testing as child abuse once, and I've repeated it over and over because I believe it, especially the amount of testing that we do. But the sit and stare, that is not written in statute. I know that I have pointed out in statute that it says clearly the Commissioner of Education must provide opportunities for concordant scores. That means we have an option. And nowhere does it say that my daughter should have to sit in a classroom full of middle schoolers for, I counted 14 hours of testing this year. 14 hours of testing, sitting and staring in humiliation, doing nothing while other people test. And so I kept her home this year for 3 days. Her sister came home from college and took care of her. 3 unexcused absences by this teacher's kid. And that's because it's become a hostile environment for her. I've got other kids asking her questions. She's had information put on social media. She's doing this because this is her form of civil disobedience. The sign said earlier, patience means learning to wait without complaining. But imagine if Rosa Parks never complained. Imagine if Ruby Bridges never complained. My daughter's complaining for the right reasons, and so are all the other kids. Now, I understand that I was told that she would no longer have to sit and stare in the makeup, and I appreciate that that has been taken care of with our principal. And I would like that policy extended to all principals in this county, and I would like it extended to all sessions of testing. The algebra kids were pulled out today. They don't have to take the math FSA thanks to these parents who have fought like crazy for years and got that changed in statute. If they can be pulled out, the opt-out kids should be pulled. It's a distraction. And as a teacher, I can tell you, having a large number of kids, and it is a large number these days, who are not testing, it creates an environment that is not stable for the kids that are testing, and I would say it walks the borderline of invalidity issues. It really does. So I hope that you guys will take care of that. I appreciate Dr. Atkins for you not making my daughter wait in the makeup sessions. I hope TALC will take care of the issue of the invalidity, because as a teacher who signs a document stating that I face felonies if I don't follow the rules with testing, I think our association, working with you all, need to come.
Thank you.
Especially those are all the cards.
Yes, thank you. Kevin Regal.
Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, actually, right now. I'd like to present first set of documents number 1 for board member action that shows potential fraud. These documents involve top-level administrator and a lawyer employed with the district. Some of the potential violations relate to statute 838.022, obtaining benefit for cause or harm to another person, and falsify or cause of another person to falsify any official document. The proof is supplied in the lawyer's own words. Since this board directly employs both of these gentlemen, and henceforth since 2 members of the board have received money from these people, perhaps Mr. Martin, we need to talk about how this could potentially cloud the issue with any votes up here on this. So I look to you for direction with this and how to proceed basically from here given this information. Speaking of files and public records, I'd like to present number 2. This one hasn't been produced by the district, and I'll explain why. On September 14th, 2015, 8 months ago, your communications department stated that these files I asked for are not available in this person's name. Finally, in November of 2015, after I said this is not legal, I was able to get them to state that you had these files. The charge was 15 hours and $333.15. Now let me explain why this is ridiculous. What I was asking for was all grievances, complaints, and charges of sexual harassment, and retaliation against this person. Now think about this. If this person, it's going to take 15 hours to redact and $333, why do we still employ this person if this is how much is in this top administrator's file? That to me seems like a problem. Are you overcharging me so I don't get the files, $333? Or is it going to take 15 hours worth of paperwork to redact? Isn't this a little bit insane? Also, something I found out that you guys actually did create a position for this by your board vote. And so I wanted to let you know back in 2013, you actually gave this person a raise and created a top-level administration position for this person. So I'd like to, with elections coming up, I'd like to put this forward and present it to all of you. Thank you very much.
Mary Orthodoxou.
Board members, Dr. Atkins, I emailed Mr. Martin due to his actions last week. When I got up to speak, I did not mention anybody's name, nor did I get a chance to finish a sentence that would have clearly showed this was all pertained to school board business. Mr. Martin, before the school board started, you went over to Mr. Toiba and you whispered in his ear. After that, you shut down Kevin Regal and myself. I sent you a cease and desist on violating our First Amendment rights. This board works for the public. You are employed by the board and you are paid from taxpayers' funds. I am giving each of you a hard copy of the cease and desist letter. as I have now been banned and blocked from emailing any of you. I find that outrageous, and the public needs to know. You are not going to shut us down. You are not going to violate our First Amendments and get away with it. Legal action will be taken. Now, I want to speak about the Bonita land. I, too, have been doing a lot of investigation. And according to the City Council commissioners, the Youth or Family, and Kirk Beck, this land was supposed to be condemned, that over 14 acres were contaminated with asbestos. Public records prove this. Then I see there is a report from a person that supposedly tested 2 acres, paid for by the Youth or Family. And that's what you have on your website. This is on your website. I have the appraisal report that states over and over and over where this appraiser has strongly recommended this land be tested. And he does not want to take any accountability, where he states in his report that if this land is still contaminated because he found documents for November 2015 where it tested positive again for asbestos. For some reason, you have not disclosed that. That's called a blatant defect. That's a criminal action. I know the youth has disclosed it because it's all over the county commissioner's records. It's all over the settlement agreement from their special meeting. I don't understand how 5 board members can vote 5-0 to take this land on, to put a school on, and put our children in and our teachers without doing your due diligence. There is, you're putting everybody in harm's way. And we have to question, you wonder, why do we question your integrity? There's records that show.
Thank you, Ms. Orthodox. Your time's up, ma'am.
Dr. Judy Piesco.
My name is Judy Piesco, and I haven't spoken here in quite some time because I think it falls on deaf ears, and I think it's useless, and I think that 3 minutes is inadequate for the most part, and there are so many issues that are disturbing me that I don't even know where to start. We'll start quickly with the Public Information Office. Public information offices in public agencies used to be called public relations offices. They changed that name years ago in most public agencies because it didn't sound good. The implication was that the public relations office were covering up for the public agencies, and that's what is exactly going on here. We can't get answers to simple questions. A board member, whom I gather we can't name, has actually criticized several people here, myself included, for making too many public requests, resulting in an increase in need for increase in personnel. Well, let me tell you something, board member. I was in charge of New York City's single person who responded to all New York City's public information requests. One person did it. It didn't take 15. It wasn't overwhelming. And our city charged 10 cents a copy at that time, and not hours of work time for people who had to do redaction, because that's an interference with public information. When people can't afford it, they can't get it. Is there some sense in your organization that people who cannot afford to pay for public information are not entitled to it? Because that's what you're doing. That's one minor issue that I could go on for an hour. My second issue deals with you, Mr. Martin. It seems that you are no longer allowing speakers to address concerns regarding individual board members. You are redefining them as attacks. I remember, it's a long time ago, but I remember an instance where in the school board room, a builder jumped up and viciously attacked school board member Bob Chilmonic for criticizing some of the building work he did, and I mean viciously attacked him, and you said nothing. That same school board meeting ended, and the late Frank D'Alessandro jumped up and said to the entire audience, "We are having a fundraiser for Mary Fisher." You said nothing to stop him from making that kind of political announcement in the school board. So I have great issue with this selective enforcement, the sudden selective enforcement. I'll go further about the 3 minutes. There has been a tendency to let certain people go beyond the 3 minutes routinely.
Thank you, Dr. Fiasco. Your time's up, ma'am.
Thank you. Chris Quackenbush.
Here so that I can give this to the board members for your review. I think it's absolutely critical. Patience is the word of the day, and I hope that you will have patience with the process of examining the property that you've selected for the Bonita High School. Last Tuesday, this purchase was approved. I have a contract and my valise, which I reviewed very carefully as a realtor, and it's very odd that it's an as-is purchase and only less than 30 days to examine the property that is $11 million and will house our very most sacred things, our children and their teachers. I have just been given information now, a few minutes ago, from Jacqueline Perez, who's been doing a tremendous amount of research on this issue. She came in just a second late and would like to present more of this information on this research, if you can spare her the time. Basically, Posen caused the problem a long time ago by dumping on a site it wasn't allowed to dump on. And it happened that Mr. Michael Shook was the Vice President of Operations for Posen at that time. She has uncovered here that the same man, who was a key member of the remediation task for this property, had been charged pages and pages and pages and had been imprisoned for improper dumping. Here are some of the charges: failure to use best management, dumping, sewage, illicit stormwater, failure to use cautionary measures, and so on. He has been imprisoned several times, and I'm going to give you this information so that you can review it. In sworn statements, Posen employees and former employees say their jobs were threatened if they refused to handle the dangerous materials. The picture of the remediation report, which you already have, shows workers, 3 workers there, who did not speak, read, or write English, in boots and a rake. They had no hazmat gear whatsoever on during this entire remediation process. Mr. Shook was arrested in August as a fugitive from Michigan, wanted for 6 felony counts of violating water protection rules. And this is the man who was in charge of the remediation you're counting on to protect our children. We seriously need to do some more work on making sure that the public knows we have their safety in mind. With issues in the news like Flint, Michigan disaster, our officials are in the spotlight, and every caution should be taken with our most precious treasure, our children. So what I'm requesting is that you do a phase 2 examination of this property. That would be proper according to the board policy 9C2, and you should do this in advance of approving this contract. We should be providing them no more money until this contract is approved thoroughly. Thank you.
Your time's up, ma'am.
Thank you. Bob Valenta.
I was going to speak about something else, but I'm going to have to let that go for tonight. So I've read the Carlson Norris appraisal. In it, it states that Lee County is made up of some 500,000 acres with a total real property value of $75.9 billion. That's an average of $151.8 million per acre. Now, we all know that not all acres are created equal. Large retail malls and high-rise properties, commercial properties, are valued very high per acre. Apartment complexes and single-family houses, which make up a large percentage of our acreage, would be much less per acre. Undeveloped land would be at the bottom. In fact, the only thing that would be valued lower would be swampland, or land contaminated with, say, asbestos. Asbestos causes a whole host of health problems that are long-lasting. Now let's look at that money. $151.8 million per acre times 77.62 acres equals $11 million, $11.782 million. Eerily close to the appraised value in this document. That means that we're paying the average for undeveloped land that's contaminated. This is the lowest property in Lee County. It is the most worthless. It shouldn't even be sold to anyone. And yet it's being sold for the average of property value across Lee County. That's absurd. We are paying way too much for this property that, let's face it, is going to cause health concerns for students, teachers, staff, and visitors. Why would we pay so much for a property that 2.5 years ago was valued at $325,000? More importantly, why would we risk killing our children and overpay to do it? It's what we call a lose-lose proposition. There is everything to lose and nothing to gain. In the invocation, Pam asked for the wisdom to make good decisions, and I agree, but you have to meet him halfway. When he grants you the wisdom, you have to act on it. When he said, suffer the little children, he didn't mean to make the little children suffer. How fitting that the kids were playing tonight Crazy Train.
Mark Castellano.
Dr. Atkins, board members, Mr. Martin, and I'm going to say Miss Johnson because she never gets any love over here. So, I am Mark Castellano. I am president of the Teachers Association of Lee County, and of course, as you know, this is Teacher Appreciation Week, and it is only fitting that, especially in this day and age, I think more so than ever before, that teachers truly do feel appreciated. We have to go very far beyond that. We need to not only appreciate them, but they need to feel respected, they need to feel valued, they need to feel supported. We have a lot of work to do. We have done tremendous work. One of the things that I appreciate about Dr. Atkins' leadership, having worked with him for so many years, is I know that he does not believe in a top-down model. He believes in things flowing upward, and I think that that is really going to serve our district well over time. We truly want to thank our teachers for everything they do. They are demanded of them far more than ever before, and they rise to the occasion every single time. And we thank you very much.
Lori Fahey.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Atkins, Mr. Martin. I sent a letter to you earlier today regarding the Bonita property. I had received the appraisals from a watchdog group, and I was able to study those over the weekend. And today I did look at the LLL website. That's hard to say quickly. But I did look at the website, and on there is the remediation of the asbestos from, I believe it was 2009. And those pictures are on there that Mrs. Quackenbush was talking about, with the workers with a shop vac to decontaminate themselves. This is very concerning. More concerning to me, or I guess equally, is an article from 2009. And it says, when Lee County engineers were looking to widen Metro Parkway in 2003, they looked into buying the property on Plantation Drive. When they discovered arsenic contamination, they backed off and bought elsewhere. The arsenic is still there, and so is South Fort Myers High School. This article is from 2009. This property has never been decontaminated. Our children and teachers are on this property in that school. This is why people are concerned now about the Bonita property. To clean up this arsenic on South Fort Myers High School would have cost about $30,000. It was never done. I can forward the article to you, but I'm sure you've all read it. I'm disappointed in our community that in 2009, no one said, hey, you guys, clean this up, will you? Our kids are going to school there. My son will be in high school soon. One of these high schools, he's going to be going to them. And it's not about just my son, it's about all of our children. We have to look out for all of our children. So I'm asking all of you to please make sure we follow through, do the phase 2 study, do whatever it takes to make sure this property is clean before we buy it. It is the best property for our school. I do want the Bonita Springs School, but we want everyone to be safe. And I do appreciate making our children not, helping to make sure they don't have to sit and stare for the tests. Thank you.
Angie Salander.
Good evening, Angie Salander. It's been a while since I've been here, but I have been watching, I have been listening, and as you know, I do email when I have something to say. I'm coming here today because I have such a concern. I'm on social media, as is most people are. There are cockroaches in our school buses. Parents have pictures of cockroaches in our school buses. They've spoke to transportation, and the answer was, there's no money to clean the cockroaches in the school bus. I'll give you $20 to go to Walmart to get a bomb. I mean, honestly, I know when Dr. Graham was here, I do recall that we did, you guys did approve money for the buses, new buses, repairs, and that type of thing. So I kind of was like, well, I remember sitting right here and you guys approving some money, but yet transportation is like, there's no money to take care of this. I mean, from a parent standpoint, we're looking at buses with cockroaches, food that does not look edible, land with asbestos on it. It's very concerning for a parent. You know, we have to take care of our kids. You know, they talk about increasing our taxes. They want the half cents. Well, okay, but the money we're approving for this and that, the land we're paying for basically what seems to be worthless land. I'm reading this paper today, $78 million. A hospital only costs, they're proposing a hospital, Lee Memorial, that only costs $70 million, and it kind of look like a hospital versus a school. Why is the school so much more than a hospital? You would think a hospital, bigger, more, in Bonita as well. So, you know, I'm just coming up here talking as a concerned parent from things I see, things I hear, and I think we need to do better for our kids. We really do, because they deserve better than this. And as far as the testing, my son is going to that school, middle school, next year, and I hope he does not have to sit and stare. I mean, how uncomfortable would it be for me to stand here for the next 3 minutes and just sit there and stare at you guys? It would be uncomfortable. I mean, let's be realistic here. Just do a little something for them. You know, I think we could come up with something that's sensible, that will help everybody, not be disruptive, and we can follow the statutes and follow what we need to do. I also wanted to find out, I know we had talked prior to before Dr. Atkins came aboard about maybe changing our curriculum, getting a better curriculum. And I haven't heard much more from that. Are we doing that? Are we looking? I mean, there are things out there where other states are doing other things. I think we should do that and try and better everything for all our students. Thank you.
Tanya Richards.
Hi, my name is Tanya Richards. This is my son, Devin. I'm here because of the school choice that I hear, no longer have to follow. I want my child to go to a school that is 2.7 miles from my home, and even less than that from where I work. Has a before school and an after school program where I can pick him up and drop him off. The reason why I chose this school was because I've lived in this county for 39 years, and I walked 3 blocks to school. I was pulled into a vehicle by the hood of my jacket and then dropped off at the spot 2 hours after and late for school. I have a concern for my child, which I understand that you all do not. I sent all of you an email. I received one response, which was a pass the buck to somebody who had not responded. I don't know what else I can do. I hate speaking in front of people. I hate speaking about this, but my child's safety and welfare is at the top of my priority. There's something has got to be done about this whole school choice issue. When somebody lives 2.7 miles, has been born in this county, and gets third choice, overlooked other kids who have just moved here last year, year before, gets their first choice, I don't understand that. My parents have been taxpayers, I have been taxpayers, and I'm certainly a voter. And from sitting here tonight, I'm questioning my voting decisions this year. Oh, and also, to save money for the district, I walk my child to school every morning. I see 3 separate bus stops. I live a block from Villas Elementary. I see 3 different bus stops for children his age going to different schools. And when I go home and get ready to work and leave for work, I see 3 different bus stops for middle school students in a 2-block radius. And when I walk him to school, which is less than 10 minutes, and walk back, there are 10 to 15 buses that cross our path that do not go to the school that we are right next to. We can save money, gas, bus maintenance, and hiring bus drivers, if we are actually looking to save money somewhere and put it to where we need to. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just ask Dr. Atkins that you address the Bonita property issue when you do your comments later. And at this time, I'll turn the meeting back over to Mr. Teuber.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. I appreciate it. I had other engagement with another public body that I had to be at. At this time, we're now moved to approval action items under the agenda under consent. I'll ask for any unfinished or any polls this evening. Ms. Fisher, do you have any polls?
I have no polls this evening.
Thank you. Ms. Dozier, do you have any polls?
I have none, thank you.
Ms. Morgan?
I have none.
Ms. La Riviera?
None.
And I have none. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as read?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Dozier, second by Ms. Fisher. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. At this point, included in the approval of the consent agenda item are the resolutions proclaiming May 2nd to May 6th, 2016 as National Teacher Appreciation Week, as stated by Mr. Mark Castellano, and May 3rd, 2016 as National Teacher Day. We wish all of our teachers to celebrate those days, and everybody else in the community to please also acknowledge your teachers. May 11th as 2016 as National School Nurse Day, and May 2016 as National Military Appreciation Month. Thank you. Dr. Atkins, would you please address administrators that are currently here?
Yes, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Michelle Freeman. Michelle Freeman is assistant principal at Fort Myers High, but she is joining the HR team and will be the Director of Professional Standards Equity. So we'd like to congratulate her and welcome her on board. Michelle also, I just have to point out, is extremely active in a number of committees that we have. She had interned down in Human Resources previously, did some volunteer work, and has been an outstanding administrator at numerous locations throughout the district, as well as a teacher. So glad to have her on board.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins. At this point, we will now move to our superintendent recommendations. We have no good cause items, so Dr. Atkins, would you please read your first resolution?
Our first recommendation, I recommend approval of the resolution authorizing the issuance of certificates of participation, Series 2016A, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $78 million for the purpose of financing new senior high school LLL in the city of Bonita Springs, Florida. B, the sale thereof is in a negotiated public sale and the execution and delivery of Schedule 2016A to the master lease as related documents in connection with the issuance of Series 2016A certificates.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins. At this time, we will now suspend the current school board meeting and reconvene, and actually convene the regular school meeting for the Leasing Corporation.
Mr. Toiber, you need action on this item first.
Yeah.
Sorry?
You need action on this item first, sir.
We do that before we do the hearing?
Yes, you need action on this
Have a
item by
motion?
the school board.
Do I have a motion to approve the resolution as read?
So moved.
Support?
Moved by Ms. Dozier, seconded by Ms. Morgan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. At this point, we'll now recess the regular school board meeting and change over to the Leasing Corporation. As president of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation, I'd like to call this meeting to order. The time is now 7:37. This evening's agenda includes public comment, 2 secretaries' recommendations, good of the order, and adjournment. Do I hear a motion for the adoption of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Fisher, seconded by Ms. Dozier. At this point, we will now take public comment. Mr. Martin, would you please address the agenda item of public comment?
An opportunity is provided at this point to make comment to the board of directors for the School Board Leasing Corporation. The subject of comment is limited to the operation of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation. Time allowed per speaker is 3 minutes.
Is there anyone on the right-hand side that would like to speak, address the 2 items that we are dealing with the school board leasing operation? Is there anybody on the left side? Seeing none, I will Ms. Fahey, would you like to speak? Please come forward.
Of course, you probably can't answer me if I ask questions, can you? So it may be silly that I'm standing up. But I believe this is for the purchase of the property. So I was hoping that it would be discussed before this is addressed, to make sure that the contamination issues are addressed. So I will wait to hear what you have to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fahey. At this point, I will now close public comment. To address Ms. Fahey, the 2 items will be the minutes of the last meeting and the authorization of the participation of our COPS funding. So the contract is not up at this time. At this time, we will now move to the Secretary's recommendations.
Thank you, Chair. The first recommendation, I recommend approval of the minutes of the last Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation meeting held on December 8th, 2015.
Board members, you've heard the motion. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Fisher, seconded by Ms. Dozier. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Atkins, your second recommendation.
Second recommendation, I recommend approval of the resolution authorizing A, the issuance of certificates of participation, Series 2016A, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $78 million for the purpose of financing a new senior high school LLL in the city of Bonita Springs, Florida. B, the sale thereof in a negotiated public sale. And C, execution and delivery of Schedule 2016A to the master lease and related documents in connection with the issuance of the Series 2016A certificates.
Directors, you've heard the Secretary's recommendation to approve the resolution authorizing A, the issuance of certificates of participation, Series 2016A, in the aggregate principal sum not to exceed $78 million for the purpose of financing a new senior high school, LLL, in the city of Bonita Springs. for B, the sale thereof in a negotiated public sale, and C, execution and delivery of Schedule 2016A to the master lease and related documents in connection with the issuance of Series 2016A certificates. I'll now entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Dozier,
Second.
second by Ms. La Riviera. Is there any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We'll now move to other business. Please note there is only comments to be made on these couple issues. I'll take any comments. Ms. Fisher?
No comment.
Ms. Dozier?
I have none, thank you.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. La Riviera?
I have none.
Mr. Secretary?
None.
This one I have none. At this point, is there anything for good of the order? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Moved. Second.
Moved by Ms. Fisher, seconded by Ms. Dozier. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. At this time, we will reconvene the school board meeting of May 3rd, 2016. We'll now move to our next superintendent's recommendation. Dr. Atkins.
I recommend board approval to renew the bid for the purchase of bakery products awarded to Flowers Baking Company, Bradenton, Florida, LLC for the final renewal period of July 1st, 2016 through June 30, 2017 at an estimated annual expenditure of $750,000 pursuant to the same terms and conditions as previously approved by the board. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, you heard the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Dozier, seconded by Ms. La Riviera. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Atkins.
Next recommendation, I recommend board approval to renew the bid for office supplies for schools, departments, and district warehouse and contract paper group, Inc., Marco Office Supply, Furniture and Printing, Inc., National Art and School Supplies, Office Depot, Pyramid School Products, Standard Stationery, and Staples Contract and Commercial, Inc. for the final renewal period of May 20th, 2016 through May 19th, 2017, and an estimated annual expenditure of $1 million pursuant to the same terms and conditions as previously approved by the board. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, you heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Fisher, second by Ms. La Riviera. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Atkins.
I recommend board approval to renew RFP number R127035JM for the information technology hardware, software, and equipment with Audiovisual Innovations, Inc., B&H Photo, Camcor, Inc., CDW Government, LLC, Contracts Finishing, LLC, E-Instruction, Lightspeed Technologies, Inc., Troxville Communications, Inc., and United Data Technology, Inc. for the final annual renewal period of June 5th, 2016 through June 4th, 2017, an estimated annual expenditure of $10 million pursuant to the same terms and conditions as previously approved by the board. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Ms. Dozier, seconded by Ms. Fisher. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Atkins.
Next recommendation, I recommend board approval to piggyback U.S. General Services Administration, GCA, Carrier Corp. contract for HVAC chiller equipment services and parts awarded to Carrier Corporation and Carrier Enterprise, Inc. for a period of from May 3rd, 2016 through May 2nd, 2017, an estimated annual expenditure of $1 million with the option to cancel if deemed to be in the best interest of the district. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Dozier. Second by Ms. La Riviera. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Atkins.
I recommend board approval to renew ITN for floor covering awarded to Acousti Engineering of Florida and Wayne Wiles floor covering for a period of May 18th, 2016 through May 17th, 2017 at an estimated annual expenditure of $1,500,000 pursuant to the same terms and conditions as previously approved by the board. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, you heard the motion. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Dozier,
Support.
second by Ms. Fisher. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Atkins.
I recommend board approval to renew the bid for Navstar International OEM parts awarded to Wallace International Trucks, Inc. for the final renewal period of July 1st, 2016 through June 30, 2017 at an estimated annual expenditure of $1,800,000 pursuant to the same terms and conditions as previously approved by the board. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, you heard the motion. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Ms. Fisher, seconded by Ms. Dozier. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Atkins.
Sorry, the procurement department's given us a workout tonight. Next one, I recommend board approval to renew the bid for petroleum products to Edison Oil Company, Hal Oil Company, and Palmdale Oil Company as primary and secondary vendors for the first renewal period, July 1st, 2016 through June 30, 2017, at an estimated annual expenditure of $500,000 pursuant to the same terms and conditions as previously approved by the board. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, you heard the motion to approve. You heard the motion. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Dozier,
Support.
second by Ms. Lowry-Viera. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Recommendation, I recommend board approval for a one-time increase to the estimated expenditure by $500,000 for the piggyback of Collier County bid, automotive and bus parts and services for a period of May 3rd, 2016 through June 30, 2016, for a total estimated annual expenditure for the period of July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016, not to exceed $2 million pursuant to the same terms and conditions as previously approved by the board. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all related documents.
Board members, you heard the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Lowry-Viera, seconded by Ms. Dozier. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor. Did you have discussion? I'm sorry, Ms.
Yes,
Fisher,
I just
go ahead.
wanted to
It was
question-
subtle.
Yeah, I just wanted to question that date. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So the increase of $500,000 for the period of May 3rd through June 30th this year, is that a typo or is that correct? Because today is May 3rd.
The total time frame for the approval is the entire fiscal year.
Right,
But the
15.
additional expenditure is to
Just
be
for-
made from this date on for the remainder of the
Thank you.
fiscal year. Yes,
So if you just like, I
Right.
wanted to give you some additional information as to why. Basically, what you have to deal with, we have an aging bus fleet, as you know. So we have an unexpected number of breakdowns and shop repairs because of it. We've heard this before, but 138 buses over 15 years old and another 149 that are 10 to 15 years old. We really want the buses to be replaced at a 12-year cycle. So the good news is that Mr. Law has a proposal that he's working on that will significantly update our bus fleet using additional, the same resources that we currently have. And the hope here is that I don't have to bring forward one of these increases to an annual expenditure again, because we'll stay within the budget because we won't have as many breakdowns.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Atkins.
I recommend board approval of the instructional materials plan for the school year 2016-2017, which will include the adoption of 9-12 career and technical education, digital information technology at a cost of $533,380, K-5 music at a cost of $382,996.64, and K-5 art programs based on 16-17 projected enrollment at a cost of $391,820. The total estimated cost of the current adoption year is $1,308,196.64.
Board members, you heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Ms. La Riviera, seconded by Ms. Dozier. Any discussion? Roll Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. That, I think, concludes it, doesn't it, Dr. Atkins?
Yes, sir.
All right. At this point, we're going to go to our public hearing. Dr. Atkins, would you please read your recommendation for this evening's public hearing?
Yes, I recommend board approval the adoption of policy 9.11, naming rights for school district facilities, to codify the current practice of honorific facility names and to create a new process for expanding into a new practice of sponsored names. The effective date of this adoption shall be Wednesday, May 4th, 2016.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins. At this time, we will now invite the public to speak on this one item. The time allowed will be 3 minutes. Is there anybody on the right side of the room that would like to address public naming? Anybody on the left side? Ms. Orthodox Sue, please come forward.
Isn't this a nice waste of money? You change a name, you got to change the sign. That costs the district money, costs the taxpayer money. Isn't this something we can kind of put off until we get out of debt?
Thank you. Anybody else? I'll close public hearing. Dr. Atkins, would you please restate your recommendation for this evening's vote?
I recommend board approval of the adoption of policy 9.11, naming rights for the school district facilities, to codify the current practice of honorific facility names and to create a new process for expanding into a new practice of sponsored names. The effective date of this adoption shall be Wednesday, May 4th, 2016.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Dozier, seconded by Ms. Morgan. Ms. Dozier.
I will be wholeheartedly supporting this, and I want to thank staff for bringing this forward. This is not going to cost the district money, but instead this is going to make the district money, because we have been briefed on this, I think, 3 or 4 times, and this is something that is practiced around the country, not only in school districts, but also venues such as Germain Arena, such as universities, where they sell the rights to name things as a way of creating and getting funds. So I look forward to the first naming, and we have a lot of philanthropists in this community that want to have things named, and I'm going to look forward to us doing this. So thank you, Dr. Atkins, for your staff putting this together for us to do it here in Lee County. This has been a long time coming. We tried to do it a long time ago. It didn't develop, but you made it happen. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you. Who else? Ms. LaRiviere.
And I too wholeheartedly support this, because it also affords everyone the right, regardless of where they are in their philanthropy and what they're capable of doing financially. It affords everyone a right to donate to the schools, to our school district, and feel like they have a good contributing part in what goes on in the district to bring in that revenue. So I wholeheartedly support it.
Thank you. I would like to take this time, I'd like to thank Dr. Atkins and Mr. Mora. The amount of work that we've done to this board has put you through to make sure that it was equitable, that it is best for the district and fair for all the schools. It is a huge opportunity for us to make a whole lot of capital money. There is a whole lot of people that will take advantage of this as one way for them to show their philanthropy, but create a legacy. If you look down at FGCU, the amount of money that they raised at FGCU in the short time when they first started the school was beyond imaginable, beyond what people could comprehend. And they named clocks and wings of buildings and so on. And it's a great opportunity for our district and a very innovative way for this administrative team to go after a funding source to help share the load of the things that we need to do. So I will fully support this, and I thank everybody and for the board's cooperation of working through the policy to make this policy finally robust and tight to achieve its purpose. So I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. At this time, having nothing forward other than other business, we'll move to our board members' comments and reports. Ms. LaRiviere.
Let's see, I gave most of my reports at the beginning, so I'm going to address some concerns raised by public and public comments. with regard to board member response to emails, our policy amongst ourselves is that typically the board member that represents the district that you are in will be the one giving the response and taking care of the situation, and all of us are under that, we are aware of that. So when we don't all respond, it does not mean that it has not been heard and that we have not voiced concerns, but we are not all going to necessarily respond to those. So a couple of people have mentioned that lately, and I want to clarify that. And Ms. Orthodoxou, this is the first I have heard about any emails being banned or blocked. And I know for me, I have not requested that or asked for that. So that part confuses me, so that will be something that I will see what I can find out about. And with regard to my comment that I made to Curriculum Advisory Committee, when I give my report, I don't just include the things that I've been doing around the district, but I also share information that is forthcoming from the superintendent. My comment that evening had nothing to do with individuals. That day when I had met with Dr. Atkins, I had received the information that out of all the districts in Florida, we had the highest number of public records requests. So I made that comment, and I said, it is my understanding, based on the number that we've been getting, that there may be a staff position, necessitate a staff position being hired. But nobody's name was mentioned. It was just a matter of the number of requests compared to the state. So I'm not sure who gave information that I said that about anyone, because I believe everyone has that right, and I would never try to hamper that. So I apologize if that was misconstrued, but we can chat afterwards. I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, this is not a dialogue, please.
This is no dialogue.
Please just
I
give your
will speak
comments.
with, that's why I said I will speak with you afterwards.
Is that all you have?
Oh, yes, that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Morgan.
I want to thank Mr. Ferrara from Bonita Springs for bringing forward the recommendation that we consider state-of-the-art, environmentally appropriate, sensitive technology in the construction of this high school. I couldn't agree more, and I hope and expect that staff has the same expectation, and perhaps Mr. Atkins will make a comment to that effect. James Harris, I'm not sure I understand what this contract is that you've mentioned, but I would ask that Dr. Atkins simply provide some information about it to us. I want to mention to Charla Fox that as I go to various meetings where the superintendent is speaking, and as I go to the quality improvement meetings, it is clear to me that if it's not number one, it's number two on the superintendent's agenda, that we address the issue of teacher retention and working conditions. And to Morgan Wright, I want to say that I have been an advocate of a 360-degree evaluation since I arrived on this school board, and I will continue to fight for a 360-degree evaluation. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Ms. Dozier.
Thank you. Janie, I want to thank you for being here tonight and your willingness to come and sit here at the dais with us. I know that you've been here before, and I want to take this opportunity to also congratulate you on your pending graduation. So you're going to leave us, and you won't be coming back after this time. So thank you for your service to the advisory committee, and thank you for everything that you've given to us. I also would like to thank Major Gilliam and his wife, Major Gilliam, for being here tonight and recognizing the board for this work but I told them it's not a board recognition, but it is a district recognition, because this was something that the entire central staff participated in. So, again, I want to acknowledge that and thank everyone for that. Didn't the Three Oaks students do a fantastic
wonderful
job playing the guitars? I don't know that I could really recognize some of the music they were playing, but they really did a phenomenal job, and they were so into, they were just so into the playing of the guitar. Dr. Atkins, I'm going to ask if you would please address the topic that has been repeatedly brought up tonight on the Bonita Springs property. I know we've had quite a lot of conversations around that. We've also talked about having you come out and say things, and you presented us with a very thorough report about the property itself. And, you know, unless there's something we're not seeing, or unless there's something that we don't know about, so I would ask if you, under your comments, would please address those things that have been brought up tonight. And, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have. Thank you very much. And I'll just tell you, your vice chair did an outstanding job in your absence.
Thank you, Ms. Dozier. Ms. Fisher.
Thank you, and I'll be brief. I'm going to piggyback on some of the things that Mrs. Morgan said. I also wanted to thank Mr. Ferrara and have someone get back to Mr. Wright and Mr. Harris, who drove all the way here from Orlando. I had handed out tonight a copy of our board governance team commitment that we came up with ourselves at a workshop when we were doing our master board training and our protocols. So I just wanted to review that really briefly. We want to be a board that acts wisely. We want to be a governance team who is respected by stakeholders. We want to be a high-performing, efficient team who advocates for students. We will listen to all stakeholders and make informed decisions. We will be level-headed and responsive, demonstrating a focus on students, the district, and the community. We want the community to believe in our leadership. I just wanted to bring that up as a reminder for all of us this evening. You started to mention before, Mr. Teuber, about the Cape Coral Mayor Scholarship Banquet, and we were very pleased that we were able to give 27 $1,500 scholarships to amazing students who were great performers, athletes, community service workers, and really deserving of the honor. Last Thursday, Mrs. Morgan and I were at the Do the Right Thing ceremony right here in the boardroom, and it was amazing. We had 53 students being recognized for doing the right thing. So I was hoping that the press would be here to see that. The 53 students did include Estero High School student government, who had done a community service project with preschool children over the holidays. So I just wanted to give them a high five. We will be attending a school justice partnership training on the 12th and 13th of May. It's an effort for us to stop the school-to-prison pipeline. I know some of you here in the audience will be attending, and I'm really happy that we are, under the superintendent's direction, moving in the right direction so that we can intervene with kids who are at risk or challenged and make our schools a safer place. The last thing, yes, it's Teacher Appreciation Week, and we have so many staff members in our school, our teachers, our administrators, our paraprofessionals, our food service workers, our bus drivers, and our custodial staff. And I just wanted to celebrate all of you tonight for all of the work you do. And I just have a little poem. It's called Let's Celebrate. Thank you for all the hours you spend, attention you give, needs that you tend, knowledge that you pass on. Your special touch, offering guidance, undaunted by much. The time you spend with our children, the efforts you make, the angles to learning, the chances you take. Here's to our district staff members, each one a gem. Let's recognize now we do appreciate them all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher.
Thank you.
Ms. Hayden.
Good evening once again. I'm impressed and rather glad that I got the opportunity to be in such an open forum, and I think that I think it's great that the community, including teachers and parents, have a place to share their concerns and their opinions on certain issues. And I do believe that the board did a great job of, or will do a great job of addressing and addressing the issues that were brought up and taking care of any concerns that was made tonight. So I'm just grateful to be here and grateful to be able to listen or give an ear to the concerns brought by the community. That's all. Thank you.
And we're grateful for you.
Thank you, Ms. Hayden. It's always a pleasure. Ms. Hayden serves on our board, our student advisory board. She is always very active in participating in there and showing her insight. She's one of our model students over at the Dunbar in the IB program, and I wish you great success upon after your graduation. I want to thank again Ms. Fisher for stepping in and running the board for me. I apologize. In our handoff, I didn't get a chance to address several of the issues. I didn't know if it was we were going to do the handoff there. We did it right in the middle there on the pause button. So my mistake. I apologize. I wanted to address, and most of them, I think Ms. Morgan, Ms. Fisher got done, but the first one was the unemployment. It was the outsourcing. Dr. Atkins, the board would like you to follow up on that and get back to us so we can have a response and get back to the gentleman that drove all the way down from Orlando. Ms. Margolin had a great position on the sit and stare. You know, we've had this discussion repeatedly, and Ms. Fisher was a huge advocate on this as far as, you know, our state statute requires that we provide education for the students, you know, during why they're here under our auspice. For them to sit there and be idle, I think we're not really carrying the ball what we need to do. So I think we need to take a look at the people that do opt out. We've had this discussion over and over again, so I think that's something that we would like to have you address on what we're doing for that so that it becomes a productive day. The last thing we want to do is pull students, have them miss school because the parents feel it's not warranted. The other issue with the cockroaches, I'm sure you're going to address that, so I'm not even going to go there. And then on the school choice issue, you know, if Ms. Richmond, if you would direct, you know, somebody from Mr. Moore's team to explain the whole process and what we have to do, you know, where we do, it becomes difficult on our school choice. There's so many factors that are involved in how we actually pick it, and when you understand the process, it becomes a little more in tune. This our first draw, we were probably, I think, 87% our first pick on the initial draw.
I thought it was close to 80%. Actually, is that okay? I'm getting a yes, so 80%.
So it's 80%, and so then and it gets put on a waiting list, and there's a process as far as hardships, and so we continue to work the parents that want the best for their child, and they'll continue to work with it. We find a lot of times the reasons when there's hardships as far as locations, those are one things, but a lot of times people make choices because they perceive one school better than the other. If it has to go through the 10-day count, a lot of students go to that particular school, and then we say, oh, it's a spot open at the other school, and they go, no, we're good. We love this school. So, you know, we have great schools everywhere. The hardships are typically for logistics issues, which I think Ms. Richmond did raise an issue, so I think that will be addressed. But for all the parents that don't get their first choice because of a perception, all I ask is that you go check out the school that you were assigned. We have wonderful schools and wonderful teachers all across our district, and I think you'll find that if you give a particular school a chance, you'll be amazed at the results. At this point, I'll move it over to Dr. Atkins.
Okay, let me just address a couple items, but I just don't want to forget, and then I'll get to the Bonita property. First of all, Ms. Richards, it sounds to me like, you know, you have a pretty good case here for a hardship waiver as the way that this is described. So if you do get in touch with our office, either Mr. Mora or Ms. Mubdy will make sure to walk you through that process. You're talking about 2.7 miles away from the school and even closer to work. I mean, these are kind of the things that hardship waivers are built upon. So we started that 80% number, and then we try to continue to approve that as you're moving forward. And honestly, if you're not getting, I'm sure you'll get in touch with Mr. Mora. Just call his office and we'll get you directed to the right person, and walk you through that process. The second thing, I do want to just quickly address the outsourcing issue. Mr. Paris, this was something actually Susan Strong brought forward a number of years ago. I'm sorry, take that back. Georgiana McDaniel brought forward with Shannon Smith a number of years ago to really look at our unemployment claims, and we felt that if we really work this really well using an outsource a company, that we could really knock down district expenses, and we found that to be very much the case. The cost of this is $16,000 is what I've been informed from Human Resources, so it's not the $21,000. It's below the RFP requirement. At that time would have been like $25,000. They do review other companies before they do that, before they make that award. So that's the information, and I'll put that in writing and have a discussion with Dr. Pruitt, and we'll see if you need anything else beyond that. All right, let me get to the Bonita property. First of all, I just want to tell folks, we continue to want to be transparent in this process, and that's why we're posting these documents. So as you go through this particular board meeting, there's things that get raised. I have responses for, I think, a lot of it. If I don't, we go through this and we can respond and put that information on the website. So it will be there, so you will get answers to the questions. But first, let's talk about the asbestos remediation. Yes, there was dumping of this pipe material that contained asbestos on the site. That particular, it was less than 2 acres, and that, as we've all heard, was remediated. The company that did that is actually a company that we have used on a number of projects. I think the most recent one, as I recall, is Tice. Is that? Yes, okay. So the Tice project, you encounter asbestos in a lot of these older buildings, and so this is one of the companies that we have a long, relationship with and really trust their work, because they happen to be the one that was involved in this, and then I'm speaking about AMRC. But anyway, this site was scraped, 3 inches of dirt, which accounted to, I don't know if you read the report, it's like dump truck after dump truck. I mean, it's just tons and tons of material that were removed and taken to the landfill, and then retested, and then of course it was found in one spot. An additional 10 inches of that site was tested and found to be free once that soil was removed. So this phase 1 and phase 2, phase 2 is where if it's such a toxic waste dump or something like that rises to the federal level, where the Environmental Protection Agency gets involved, it gets put on this national priority list, and part of the phase 1 is to make sure it's not something that's actually on this list, and it's not on this list. In fact, it's such a small site that it doesn't rise to the federal level. So this is something that is supposed to be taken care of at the state level, and which it was. The Department of Environmental Protection of the state of Florida has jurisdiction over this. So the phase 1 was performed, and that is what is considered to be appropriate in this case. And actually, the experts would tell you that phase 2 is absolutely a waste of taxpayer dollars and expense to do that. I'm not an expert in asbestos, and that's why you have to work with people who are experts in asbestos. We brought some of them to the board meeting that did offer testimony. We're talking about people like Johnson Engineering, AMRC, GHD, etc. These people did thoroughly review this and of course have signed off on it. So, we do take this very seriously, and this is an important project. It's a critical project. We would never put any child at risk knowingly at all. And to make the implication that we would do so is just, Absolutely not. So now, another issue that came up has to do with the appraised value of this property. Yes, there was a dispute that took place, between, the county and the property owner and Posen and all, over who was going to pay for the cleanup. And a lot of stuff got thrown around during that period of time about the price. Well, it is not relevant at this point. What's relevant is what is the appraised value of this property now and what's the district going to pay for it. So a property appraisal, the appraisals that were done on this property were done with the awareness that there was asbestos on this property and that property that was remediated. So the appraisals, when they did those appraisals, that knowledge was there. The appraisals both came in, $12 million and north of $12 million, so below the price that the school district is under contract for. And then finally, I just want to remind folks that we are still in a due diligence period. We are still in a review period as we move toward closing. And the one thing that I say, this has been a long time in coming. We've been granted access, kind of even ahead of schedule, so we could do our due diligence. So, I really have a lot of trust in some of the people that I've worked with over really a long period of time, and the companies that we have good relationships with that do trustworthy work for us. And so, if I didn't, I wouldn't be bringing that recommendation forward. So, having said all of that stuff, in case I've missed something, we will go through it and make sure that this stuff all gets up on our site and available to the public. So, if there's no questions, I'll move on to some of the other items.
Board members? Please continue.
I do want to, Richard Ferrara, one of the things that has always been a goal at the Bonita site is because Bonita is such it's a beautiful area, and and you have all of that, that coastal land. There's a lot of environmental awareness in that particular community. And so we really have a goal to make that a very green, environmentally friendly building. And so some of our other facilities do have these solar panels, and they do generate some cost savings for the district. I also think it's a neat thing for kids to see, and because we want this facility not just be a facility for students to go to and learn, but also you can actually learn from the learning environment. And so the outdoor classrooms that we've talked about, but also using green technologies and then teaching kids about green technologies is a part of it. So I think he's spot on in terms of a lot of his comments, and so very much in alignment with what we've been talking about. We can certainly look at the bottom-up review system that was mentioned today. Teacher Appreciation Week, you all mentioned that, so I won't say other than, it's awesome to be able to recognize our teachers and to be able to do the Teachers of the Year during Teacher Appreciation Week is kind of a cool thing. Opting out in the sit and stare policy. Here's a pretty frustrating thing that occurred to us during the writing test. So it used to be during the writing test that a student could get out and read a book, etc. All right, the statute says that we are required to follow the test booklet. Okay, now here's the frustrating part. The frustrating part is the test booklet last year allowed this practice. This year, they actually called or directed us via email, I should say, to change the test booklet. So we had to change the test booklet to disallow, students the ability to read. So, this is something that's not gone unnoticed by us because that's just it just doesn't make sense to us. Good news is that the issue that we talked about today, we think we do have a resolution to that Soretta's working on, so the call up to Tallahassee actually did pay off, so we have a solution for those particular students, because that was going to be another one that was going to have to go, we literally told Soretta, if we have to go to the commissioner on this one, we'll do that. She was able to do it at the deputy, one of the deputies, I should say, so that's good news. But this continues to be just a very frustrating area for us to deal with. And that's why I think there was mentioned today something about, are you looking at changing your curriculum and your testing? Yes, School District Lee County Standards for Excellence. We are making really good progress on that. That's exciting work that I think will that will pay dividends for our kids moving forward, so we can have standards that kids can rise to and be college or career ready. Anyway, that is something that I think that we can be a model for the state, and so the state can hopefully come to its senses when it comes to this high-stakes testing. I think that, one last thing, public records request, let me address that. I think I mentioned this at a previous board meeting, but I want to make sure I mentioned it today. We have had Rob Dodick review our procedures. He found them to be compliant, however, he made some recommendations. He shared those recommendations with Mr. Martin, who also was in agreement. But then we went a third step further, and we've currently have an attorney that has actually represented media, TV stations, newspapers, like I believe the Orlando Sentinel and other things in these freedom of information. And this is someone who would be kind of on the other side of the fence, so to speak. And so we felt we would get somebody with a different perspective to review our public records procedures and make recommendations to us. So he's in the process of doing that, and I will be more than happy to provide his credential to you all, because I think I hope you will be impressed. I mean, we're trying to be transparent, and if there's something wrong with what we do, and that was Amity suggested that, say, look, this is the policy I've been following since I've been here, but put it under review, and if we need to do something different, then let's do something different. So that's what we are doing. We're going to put it under review, and if somebody's going to make a difference or a change, it's going to be this guy. I believe, based on the credential that I see. So I just wanted you all to be aware of that, and you should expect a response from us on that in June. So with that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Atkins. Mr. Martin, is there anything you'd like to add this evening?
Yes, sir. Mr. Toiber, board members, just one issue I'd like to address briefly, just to provide a clarification. There was a suggestion tonight in some of the comments, and I believe in the last board meeting, that the school board was violating its own policy with respect to school site LLL by not obtaining a Phase 2 environmental site assessment. The policy that's being referred to is 9.01, and the provisions of that policy state that prior to recommending the acquisition of a site to the board, the superintendent shall ensure that the following information is obtained. One of the items listed there, information that needs to be obtained, is an environmental assessment, including a Phase 1 environmental site assessment, and then a Phase 2 environmental site assessment if required. As a result of the Phase 1 environmental site assessment performed by the environmental engineer, the advice provided by that expert was that there was not a requirement for a Phase 2 environmental site assessment, and therefore the failure to obtain one at this point is not a violation of your policy. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Our next scheduled meeting of the board is on Tuesday, May 17th. There is a school board briefing meeting at 2 p.m. and a school board action meeting at 6 p.m. At this point, having no other business to come before this body, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Fisher, second by Ms. LaRiviere. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.